IVM.
So it's been another great week at IVM Podcast, and if you aren't following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the major social media networks. This week on the Pragati Podcast, Pawan and Hamsini talked to economist Anupam Manur about how India is tackling creating new jobs. On the Pulyabazi show, tune into part 2 of Pranay's interview with China expert Manoj Keval Ramani. On Simplified in a Shorty, Shrikesh, Chuck and Naren give interesting tidbits about the qualifying round of the 2018 World Cup. On Cyrus Says this week, Cyrus has a conversation with friend of the network Vivek Kaul about the economy. On Who's Your Mommy, Veda and her friends discuss the strange and disturbing questions they've been asked by their kids. On Keeping It Queer, Naveen talks to non-binary Instagram sensation Dan Rebello. On Varta Lab last week, Akash and Naveen exchanged some hilarious stories with Balraj Ghai, owner of the Hotel Intercontinental and The Habitat. And with that, let me get you on to your shows.
Hi.
You're
Listening to IVM
Daily. Hello and welcome to another episode of IVM Daily. I am Priyanka and I have with me Swati and Surbhi.
Hello.
Hey. And we're here to discuss something that's got our mind, and that's what this show is about. We pick up topics, concepts, or anything that's trending, and we come down here, spare a few minutes from our schedule to talk about them. However, today we picked up a serious report. And this is something that's it's not very surprising, but it's rather hurtful, because this report claims that India is the most unsafe country in the world for women, according to the Reuters Foundation survey, which involved 548 global experts on women's issues. And, these experts were sort of asked questions relating to risks in 6 areas, including healthcare, access to economic resources, discrimination, customary practices, sexual violence, non-sexual violence, human trafficking, and 43 of these 548 experts were from India. So the perception of the poll really says that India is more dangerous for women than war-torn Afghanistan, Syria, Somalia, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan.
Okay.
And the acting chairperson of the National Commission for Women, Rekha Sharma, has rejected this survey, saying that you cannot really consider the sample size and take its word. And she says that, the countries that have been ranked after India have women who are not even allowed to speak in public.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if that is the case, my first instant reaction is that you have, if I'm not mistaken, 43 of these experts from this whole set of people, 548. So isn't that like a considerable size of voices coming through? I mean, what do you guys think about this?
I think talking about the sample size, it has always been a tricky thing, and particularly about a country as diverse as India is. Any generalization would be problematic, but having said that, I think this survey can definitely be taken as an indication or a cue to consider our situation and to take stock of our situation, where we stand in terms of providing security to our women, to the women of this country who belong to this country and who have a right to live safely in this land. What do you think about this, Surbhi? Do you think that we are safe or unsafe?
So I have grown up in parts of Delhi and Ghaziabad, and so I've been to college there, but it's always been very protective, the atmosphere and my parents, and just been built into my system so much that honestly this survey does not change anything, because I still every time I leave the house, every time I leave any place in the night, I still make sure I know, my friends know where my Uber is taking me, or my parents are tracking what I'm doing, because it's always been like this. This is maybe it's gotten unsafe by in the years that are past, but mostly for me it's been like this forever.
And we were discussing that in Delhi, I've also spent a considerable amount of time in Delhi, so I know that even in the most VIP areas that we designate as VIP areas, you would not see a single girl or a woman walking down the road around 11 o'clock in the evening. Whenever I have gone out with friends or a party or somewhere, I've never found even a single girl walking down.
Yeah, we just have to be alert at all times.
All the
and it's
time.
just built into our psyche so much. So, I mean...
I think, so to sort of understand where this report is coming from, to backtrack a little bit, we spend the longest of our hours at like schools, offices, college campuses, and if I want to state another report, so there's basically, there's been a 50% increase in reported cases on sexual harassment from various higher education institutions between 2016 to 17 in that academic year, and as compared to the time period before that. So that was 2015 to 2016, and this was informed by the Ministry of Human Resource Development to the Lok Sabha. So I think this came out in March this year, and yeah, like it's always said to us, right, that with the increase in number of cases, we've been told that the most amount of time that you spend in places are actually getting unsafer and unsafer.
Yeah, schools and colleges.
This report really sort of, because you are very vulnerable to the people around you, and it is the intent that is often questioned, because they know how you would react at any point in time the whole day. So they sort of keep track. It gives them opportunity to do that. But how does one ever think, or sort of how cautious can you be when, and also the point that women empowerment has always been under the radar, has always been in the spot. When we want more women to get out of their houses and work and just do anything else that everybody else does, these things are, of course, coming in the way. It's just, and this report just proves that it's not going to get any better.
And I think this fear, with which we live is somewhere because of the system and the rule of law that does not favor women in the sense it should. Like, we do not have that kind of security back in our head when we are moving on the road, and that's why we are not there on the road, because we do not know whether something's going to happen to us, and if something happens to us, are we going to get the kind of help that we need? So somewhere it's the overall administration and the police system that actually is not right there to help us when we actually need them, and that's the basic problem.
That's true. I agree. I mean, I feel like the streets of India are surely unpredictable and they're really wild, but what has increased over the years is also harassment on the web. We thought that used to be a safe space. Honestly, I feel like maybe when we were growing up it wasn't this bad, but now there's a barrage of, like, an army of people just ready to troll you, just ready to send you like rape threats the minute you have an opinion that doesn't match theirs. So I feel like that's also a discussion that needs to be had while we're having this discussion. Even this web is not a safe space of women anymore.
Yeah, definitely. So from the physical streets, it has gone to the streets of internet, that there also women cannot walk safely.
So anything you spend a lot of time is just not safe anymore. So if your profile is out there and you're browsing, or there's anyone via in your on your friends list and stuff like that, you don't know who will really think of you as a target, because you are spending so much time online. You're spending so much time physically at your workplace, in offices, kids are in their schools. That is just another window of being a soft target to crimes like this. And it's needless to say, it is unfair, but you're not doing anything different. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And so with this topic, it also gives us way for all our haiku jammers. You can write a haiku jam on women's safety, and we'd like to read them, and we'll definitely give you a shout out. So pen down your words on something so serious and grave, and that is just bothering every woman in the country right now. So in the meanwhile, as you do that, we'll be back after this break.
Hello there, my name is Naveen Narona, and as a gay person in India, I get asked a lot of stupid questions.
Beta, is it LGBT or eligibility?
How do two men procreate?
Bro, is Grindr better than Tinder or what?
We answer all these questions and much more on my podcast, Keeping It Queer, where I talk to individuals from the LGBT community in India and learn about their personal stories. Catch all the episodes on the IVM podcast app or any other podcasting app you like. Till then, keep it queer.
Welcome back to IVM Daily, and Swati, Surbhi and I, Priyanka, were talking about the latest report that's come out from the Reuters Foundation about how unsafe India is. And taking our discussion further, we have Dr Mohini Giri, who is a social activist and has served as the chairperson of the National Commission for Women between 1995 and 1998. So over to you, Swati.
Thank you, Priyanka. Dr. Mohini Giri, you are with us on the show and we're glad to have you. We're discussing the Thomson Reuters Foundation's survey, which says that India is the most dangerous country for women in the world. So I just wanted to have your opinion. You must have seen the survey and read the reports all over the news. So the acting chairperson of the National Commission for Women right now, Rekha Sharma, rejected the survey report, saying that the sample size was small and could not be representative of the whole country. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this kind of logic really works?
No, the thing is that the survey is there. They have done a sample survey, which is not really all India, as Rekha Sharma has said. However, there is an increasing amount of violence in our country today. And this may be due to women coming out and participating in many more things than they did before. And visibility is more. So there could be reasons. We cannot put one reason for this. There are multifold reasons of why this is coming out. Maybe in other countries the visibility is not that much.
Yeah.
So I would say when we are doing this survey or anything also, we should see the background and the circumstances and what is the real source of the whole thing and what is the kind of violence that is going on.
True.
So you cannot say that women's position in India is bad because there are women and women and women. So I would defend it. And I would say maybe the survey is right to an extent that it is a bad trend. It is going bad. Domestic violence against women is going. And all those things are happening without question. But I think we should go deeper before we declare a country totally as a degraded country. We should take it more seriously and see to those multifold many factors that contribute to it.
Right. So, like you said, that we cannot deny that there is a problem which, this survey actually hints at. So this kind of poll was also conducted in 2011 and which ranked the most dangerous countries for women as Afghanistan and DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, then Pakistan, India and Somalia. So this was a year before the Nirbhaya case in Delhi happened in 2012 and now this is 2018. That the survey paints an even dismal picture, which clearly means that nothing is practically changed for women. Do you also feel that?
How can anything change till such time that the report of Justice Verma and Justice Seth and all these people, those recommendations have not even been put into action? There has to be implementation on those. Then only the condition will improve. Why did we waste so much money on those recommendations if we didn't have to follow them?
So what is the reason?
See, all we did every effort to see that good laws are made, that it should be preventive, then the things we could go into the source of the whole thing, why is it? But we have not implemented those. It's all in paper and writing and that's it.
So what do you think as the reason for this? Why this country is not able to move ahead and act and ensure safety for women? Is it the lack of will, or what would you say the basic problem is?
The problem is lack of will. Why aren't recommendations against prostitution or sex trade or child trafficking or the violence against women or the dowry system or jails, the burden on jails and women? Why aren't all these there in place? Because the recommendations are lying without anybody looking at them. They're just collecting dust.
And how do you see the role of National Commission for Women? You've served on the commission as the chairperson.
The National Commission for Women is a very important body, provided it is totally fair, provided it is for all India, provided that it takes quick action provided that it can go and tell the judiciary that this is what the finding is. It has to have a contact with the judiciary, provided that we have also an investigating agency which investigates the things. A 4-member or 3-member women's commission cannot go into Assam and say this is happening.
Yeah.
It has to have an investigation.
So,
And there is no such wing.
and you say,
So I think the role of the National Commission has not been recognized properly, and it has not come to the full. It is not really doing the full that it was meant for.
is it utilizing the power it has already?
I don't think so.
Okay, so what would be your suggestion? I mean, what is the road ahead in terms of civil society, in terms of government, in terms of law? What do we actually need to do?
The need is that the National Commission must have a contact with the civil society throughout. It should be the ears of the people. People should know what is the National Commission. Laws have to be implemented. All laws are there. It's without question the laws are all there, but they're not being implemented.
Okay, all right, Dr. Giri, thank you so much for talking to us.
Not at all. Okay.
Thank you. Bye. All right, so that was Dr. Mohini Giri. Surbhi, do you have any hopes now?
Yes, I think hope is all we have with us now. So
How profound.
Yeah, also that I'm hoping that our number is not so low on any women's safety report that comes out next. Just
So-
fingers crossed for that.
So
yes.
we do not want to come first again. All right, Priyanka, we'll try to give you some hope after this. That's all for now, and we'll be back with another episode of IVM Daily.
thank you for tuning in. You can reach out to IVM Podcast on our Twitter page and on Instagram. You could also reach out to us personally.
Yes.
Swati,
Swati Bakshi02 on Twitter.
Priyanka,
Priyanka 1091.
and I'm Surbhi @ Small Talk Police. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
As you can see, we have a podcast listener in his natural habitat. Billions of years of evolution have led him to this point. He's on his way to work, and listening to podcasts makes his miserable day better. He will now head to work and use all his knowledge to communicate with other colleagues and possibly future mates. You can find more of his species on ivmpodcasts.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out all the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.